Hello, this is Jenny from Designs with Paper. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I have an art journal video for you, and I have a special guest. My daughter Alyssa is going to be working on the Mission Inspiration October 2021 prompt with me.
I'm actually not just working on it, I am taking over this channel. It is now Alyssa Designs with Paper.
You wish. Anyway, the colors for this month's prompt are red apple, moss, and clay. We have chosen the version 2, the Autumn Harvest theme, and I will go ahead and start here on a piece of 5.5 by 8 inch mixed media paper. And the first part of the recipe I am going with are rips and tears. I have torn apart some of this kind of sand-colored scrapbook paper, and I am adhering it to my page with some gel medium. I am kind of sort of going for an abstract tree kind of look, but in reality, because this is my background, I will be covering it up with gesso, and so you really won't see it there. And I know I've said this before, but when I am working with mixed media and art journaling, I like to have lots of layers so that there's a lot of visual interest and a lot of texture and stuff going on in the background.
Yeah, I did not know that, so my background is flat. But mental note, next time.
And I'm just going to have one tree on each side of the page just to kind of give it a frame for my eventual focal point. Although in this art journal page, I don't have a specific focal point. I know. It's kind of weird. I'm just going to go ahead and clean up my brush and go ahead and add some liquid gesso to this page. This is a Liquitex branded gesso. It is white and it is a little bit on the thinner side, and I just splattered it all over myself, but it spreads out really nice and easily over the mixed media paper and the quote trees. And there we go. So I have my background all done, and I'm going to do a quick tidy up, and now Alyssa's going to start her page.
Yes. So I have never art journaled before. I actually suck at art very much. And so my paper is only 8 inches long by 6 inches wide.
Because that's the paper we bought.
Yes. And I am loosely basing this off of a picture from Lord of the Rings I saw. I think it's like the Spotify album cover. But I went ahead and mixed some orange and gray paint together to make brown because I don't have brown paint.
Which is totally weird.
And, well, I don't art journal. And I actually mixed some sand into it as well.
One of the ingredients is sand or grit.
Yes, because one of the ingredients is sand or grit, not because I just enjoy painting with sand. And I don't really know what I'm doing. I just know that sand is dirt and dirt goes on the bottom. So I'm putting my dirt on the bottom and making a little hill because the ground is not flat.
All right, so here is my recipe card, and I have my rips and tears down, and I am going to go ahead and add color. I am using my Distress paints, and I have pulled out Forest Moss, or whatever that mossy green color is called. I also have Rusty Hinge for the clay color, and Candied Apple, or Fired Brick maybe, for the red. I really should write these color names down so that I know what I'm talking about when I do my voiceovers.
But
I am going to apply my color with a brayer. It's not going to be a total full coverage. And I am going to go red to yellow to orange, or I guess that's red, orange, and or green, orange, and red. I don't know. They're blending together nicely. It looks kind of orangey the orange looks kind of yellowish on the video, but it really was an orange color.
Yeah, it was absolutely an orange color. Side note, that brayer looks like a jade facial roller. That's all I'm saying. So one of our ingredients is also wood. And so I used cork, which is wood adjacent, to make these trees that
Are also wood,
but look like a kindergartner made them. I was trying to be abstract and cool, and I thought, I know what a tree looks like. I can easily cut one out. I cannot.
She also did not realize that her Mod Podge had a flip-top cap.
Yeah. So I am using my, I say it wrong every time, Mod Podge?
No G. Mod Podge.
Mod Podge to glue these kindergartner trees down. I'm just putting it on the back of my cork and on the paper, and I put a little bit too much on the left side, but I kind of cover it up later, so it's okay.
It dries.
And Apparently, I'm also bad at using scissors because I chopped one of my tree branches off. And so I have to kind of glue him back together and pretend like that didn't happen.
I feel like she may have overestimated how easy it is to cut cork.
I think I just overestimated my general artistic ability. I know I'm not an artist, but for some reason in my head I was thinking, I can absolutely do this. I don't need help. I don't need to draw stuff out, even though I did draw these trees out. I did draw them out and they still look terrible, but whatever, it's fine.
It works. And the cork little limb goes right back on there and you cannot even tell that it was broken off. It looks a little bit like hands. Okay, so I have added rips and tears and I have added my colors and I'm kind of got the autumn harvest theme going on. And I am going to add some make marks. So make marks is one of the ingredients as well. And I am using this black soot distress paint and an old Kohl's store gift card thing just to kind of create some marks in the background. This isn't something that is part of the actual image or theme. It's just something to add a little bit of, I don't know, to look at. The next thing I'm going to add is this wood grain paper for my wood element, and I'm going to create trees. So we've got paper made out of wood, wood grain paper, and I'm creating, air quotes here, trees to cover my wood element. And these are incredibly abstract. They do not look hardly at all like trees. But we're just going with it.
But it works, though. My abstract trees look like kindergartner trees. At least your abstract trees are abstract trees.
I started putting the paper down with a school glue stick and decided I wanted to add the gel medium over the top so that I can go back later and add some dimension and shadowing with my Pitt pen. And I needed to have a non-porous surface in order to smear that ink around. So I have the red apple, the moss, and the clay. I have the wood, the rips and the tears, and the make marks.
So it's back to me. I have my sander grit. I have my kind of autumn vibe. I have my wood, and I am going to use my colors, and I'm going to make marks. And so I just have Michael's brand acrylic paint. I also should have written the names down, but I did not. I think the orange one is called Orange Spice, though, so very autumnal. And I'm just squirting way more than I should have out.
I totally said that.
Yes, she did, and I ignored her. Because why listen to your mom? She doesn't know anything, obviously. And I had just gotten them packaged earlier. So I went ahead and used some of the bubble wrap that came in that to make my marks. We just put a little bit of painter's tape on the back in a loop so I could just stick it to my fingers because I was struggling big time.
She legit did not know that we use bubble wrap all the time for mark making and art journaling.
That is true. I thought I was so creative.
She is creative.
I thought I was the GOAT, the OG. It's fine. But I'm wiping a little bit of excess off on a paper towel just so it looks less globbish when I put it on. And I just went green, orange, red because I felt like it.
I feel like the paints were a little bit runny too, so dabbing them off was going to be a necessity no matter what. All right, so back to Jennie's page here. I am going to go with my sand or grit. Now, I had this genius idea that I even tested on a small piece of paper to put down a trail of gel medium. So I'm even trying to go for perspective here where it's wider in the front and skinnier as I get toward the back of the page or the top of the page. And I'm going to create the look of sand with seed beads. Yeah, I don't know why I have 900,000 containers of seed beads because I don't bead anything, but I do. I have these seed beads, and these happen to be the color of sand. So I am going to dump these, pour these, drizzle these, whatever word you want to use, these seed beads on top of this path I created with gel medium. Now, I tried this out. The seeds stayed on the beads, the seeds, whatever, stayed on the paper. I did not pay attention to how long it took the gel medium to dry. So for real, we had to get to a point where we could stop and wait a full 24 hours in order to finish our pages because it took that long for the gel medium to dry.
And that's why we have beautiful manicures later.
Yeah, we legit got new manicures in between the first day and the second day.
Courtesy of me, because I'm wonderful at nail art. I'm really not. I did some nail art on these really, really long acrylic nails, and I hate long acrylic nails, so I don't know why I did. It was a whole thing. We can talk about it later. But so I've used my colors, I've made my marks, I've used my grit or sand, I have my wood, and so I'm about to do my rips and tears. And while I was raiding my mom's stash of craft supplies, I found this really cute mushroom die.
It's a lawn fawn stamp.
It's a lawn fawn stamp. And so I stamped these cute little mushrooms onto a whole bunch of different patterned papers that just gave off fall vibes. And they're white core paper though, so I went in with a Pitt pen. I didn't show this. I just went around the edges to make it not stark white anymore. And then I put some foam tape from that big roll on the back just so they would pop off the page and be kind of more even with the cork trees so I could hide the bottoms. And this whole page is kind of an homage to my late fiance who passed away a couple weeks ago because he really loved Lord of the Rings and he really was quite obsessed with mushrooms.
Which is seriously weird. But we love him anyway.
Like the back screensaver on his phone was a mushroom for his lock screen. I mean, I was the wallpaper once he got inside the phone, but first look at the phone and it was a picture of his favorite mushroom. Alright, so now I have my sand or my grit, I have my marks, I have my rips and tears, I have my wood, I have my colors, I have my autumn harvest theme, and it's time for the focal point, and this is a little picture of a man and a woman in an embrace. Like I said, homage to my late fiance. And I just found it online, cut it out, and I'm gluing it to a piece of dictionary paper from this old dictionary we found at a bookstore.
No, Goodwill.
Whatever. And it's the entry for love, because I'm so cheesy. And I just glued my people on, and now I'm ripping the paper, the dictionary paper, around the silhouette just to make it look better.
And this is when Mom keeps saying, put your hands under the camera more. You're off camera.
I'm not off camera. I'm perfectly in the center. That is a lie. I'm not. But so then I decided to glue them on the little hill I made. I was trying to go for some perspective where, like, if they're higher up on the paper, it means they're further back. But I told my mom to print out a wrong size of the people, so it's fine. They're just standing on a hill. It's no big deal. And I was fiddling with this gauze that we had colored with paint because I wanted to originally make it into like a sky or some clouds, but I didn't really know. My mom kept saying, just put it behind the people, put it behind the people. But
she ignored me.
Yes, I did, because who listens to their mom? Obviously, they don't know anything. Not even when they've been crafting for literal years. So then I go and I try to make this gauze work as the sky, and it just looks not good.
I think it looked fine, but it wasn't the look she was going for.
It was not the look I was going for. Like, I guess I thought in my mind I wanted like a rainy haze. Autumn, fall days. I don't know. I don't know what I was going for, but that was not it. So I decided to just do what my mom said originally.
When in doubt, listen to your mom.
Yes, moral of the story. And glue my peephole to the gauze. So I just ripped them off because they were just put on the glue stick, which is really easy to take off. Trimmed up the gauze a little bit. And then the trick with gluing paper onto gauze onto paper is to really mush the glue stick into the gauze so it gets in all like the cracks. Holes.
Yeah.
Whatever. So I'm using about 3/4 of a glue stick to just really squish it in there to make sure it stays. And I will quite literally slap it on the paper. Art.
She's just pushing it on. You have to keep on. This is fast forward, so it looked like she slapped it, but really she pushed it.
I feel like I probably did slap it. And I'm just going and checking off that I have everything. And now I'm putting my little quote. And it says, just as we never try to stop leaves from turning, we can allow joy, sadness, happiness, and pain to cycle within us, safe in the knowledge that peace comes with letting go.
And she's going to use some Mod Podge to
glue it down instead of a glue stick. And then because I want to add a little border with a a Pitt pen later. I'm just going over it with Mod Podge. First time I said it correctly.
Okay, so my seed beads are kind of sort of dry, and I am going to attempt to add a little bit more definition or shadow to the branches of my tree. And I have this Pitt pen and a somewhat wet baby wipe to kind of smear that pen around. I like the Pitt pens because India ink, when it is wet, is smearable. And then once it dries, it's completely permanent. You can't get it off, which is sometimes how come I have brown fingertips or black fingertips for a couple days after I do art journal pages. No lie, it happens. And then I decided I liked Alyssa's idea of using the bubble wrap to create the leaf look on her trees. So I put a little bit more of the Rusty Hinge paint on a baby wipe or paper towel. I did not bring... So we had to move from my craft room into the dining room so we could both craft at the same time. And I brought a surface to work on, but I didn't bring like my craft mat or a palette paper or anything. So we're going all kinds of crazy with the paper towels and napkins and stuff. So my fibers are also a piece of that gauze. I did not try to change the color. I just have it a little square chunk of gauze right there. And I have a quote from the Anne of Green Gables books and movie that says, "I'm so glad I live in a world where there is October." And in Virginia, we are really lucky. We have beautiful Octobers. Mid-October to early November is peak leaf changing time, and it is gorgeous. Now, I noticed that some of my seed beads were kind of loose, and I thought it would be a fabulous idea to put a layer of gel medium over the top because it's going to dry clear, so you're still going to get the look of the sand and the feel and texture of the beads after the gel medium dries. But this is legit. How come we had to wait almost a full 24 hours to finish our pages? Because it took forever to dry. It was kind of humid, and it took forever to dry. So I have all of my colors, I have all of my ingredients, I have my theme, and now we are going to move on to day 2.
Look at my fabulous nails. Yes, I did them myself. No, it was not the first time I did them that day. So my paper is all dry because it didn't give us any problems because I didn't use beads. I just used sand.
She used real life
because I'm a genius. And so I have this Pitt pen from India Ink. I have the baby wipes. I'm just going to go ahead and do little strokes on the outside border edge and then kind of rub them with my wet finger so that they smudge a little bit. And this is my first time using it, so I first went in like small sections, and then eventually I just said, heck, and I went in large sections because it wasn't quite looking like I wanted it to.
She was going more for a border than a shadow, I think.
I think so too. I also saw you do it, and I was like, ooh, that'll be fun. I don't want to smear stuff.
She just wanted to play with the paint.
Yeah, just a tad bit. Yes, I am 23. Yes, I wanted to finger paint. It's fine.
Hey, it's all good.
Yep, so I'm just going around the outside, smudging a little bit. I also think I left the lid off the baby wipes because they were not very wet. So I was struggling a little bit. And then I ultimately decided I was just going to brown out the outside of the quote.
Border. She's giving it a border.
I don't know, that didn't seem like the right word for it. But sure, I'm giving a more distinct border.
There you go.
Because I just didn't like how it was just white paper. I felt like it looked really weird. And
unfinished.
Unfinished. Good word. And so I put a border, and then it looked finished.
There you go. And she needs to remember that art journaling is not about creating perfect art. It's about putting something on paper.
But I'm a perfectionist, so it's really hard when things do not turn out how I want them to, and those trees will forever be the bane of my existence.
Yeah, she might be her mother's daughter with that whole not turning out. Oh, and this is the part that we forgot to edit out that is weird.
You may be wondering, what is happening here? I'll tell you what's happening here. I'm trying to figure out how to glue a piece of paper onto another piece of paper. That's it. It's nothing interesting. It's nothing fancy. Kindergartners could do it, but I struggled with it.
Her her page is created on watercolor paper, and it was a little bit curling in from all of the wetness. So we wanted to add a thicker piece of cardstock to the back of it so it would be hold up and not fall apart. But we, and by we, I mean me, mismeasured the size of her paper and had to do it twice.
Yeah, good times. So I just put it on a big old piece of construction paper.
Cardstock.
What's the difference between cardstock?
I'll show you later.
Whatever. Anyway, I also had some tree hanging off, so you didn't see it, but when I was struggling to glue, I also was chopping part of my tree off, and I just glued it onto this piece of not cardstock.
Yes,
cardstock, not construction paper, and left like 7/8 of an inch border just to hole punch so I can put it in my little art journal binder thing. I would have showed you all that, but it's really boring right now.
She hasn't decorated the front yet.
I have not decorated the front yet, so it's just brown. And I forgot to sign my name at this point, but don't worry, I did sign and date it. And I also glued my recipe card onto the back so that when I look at this in 5, 10, 20, 50, a million years, I'm not like, wow, did I do this in kindergarten? I was so talented at 5. I can be like, ooh, that was my first one at 23.
She pulled a Mike Deacon and glued her recipe card on the back of her paper. Although she's kind of struggling with trying to not ruin her second manicure of the day.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that for a sec. I had done some really cute nail art, but since I'm such a perfectionist, I could see every flaw, and the nails were just so heavy. I said, Mom, you gotta cut them down. We gotta get them off.
I have signed my page on the side because I could not write over the top of my seed beads at the bottom, and I'm just signing my name and dating it for October. And I will also glue my recipe card to the back of my page so that I will always remember why I created these weird little trees when I created these weird little trees. And it will be super fun to remember that I did this with my daughter. I will go ahead and trim off the tree branch that's hanging on the side, and then I am going to add it to the journal I created for this year's Mission Inspiration Prompts. Wow, in English. And let's just talk about how it's October, and I have not missed one yet this year. Every other year I have started this, I've gotten to like March, and then just totally lost it. But here I am in October, and I have got them all done. They're not all awesome, but they're all done. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. I hope you enjoyed this art journal video. I hope you enjoyed having a special guest on the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know how you feel about it. I love comments. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel and maybe share it with your friends. Also, I've added some videos here for you to watch that you might also enjoy. Have a great day.
Roast me in the comments. I can handle it.